Shalom. With our Torah portion this week, Parshat Behukotai, we conclude the book of Vayikra, Leviticus. We are on chapters 26 and 27, and here we're given two concepts in the Torah that many like myself struggle to understand. We are told how the people of Israel will be blessed with peace and prosperity if they follow God's teachings, and what will happen to them if they choose not to. And it's not pretty. The people will experience tremendous suffering, disease, famine, war, worst of all, exile. The Torah does promise that even after these terrible punishments, God will never abandon Israel, never destroy her completely, but will always remember the covenant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and will restore and renew the people. Now that's chapter 26, and I have a lot of questions on the entire premise of the idea of reward and punishment happening directly in this world. For the righteous, as we know and see, are not always rewarded, and the wicked are certainly not always punished. But let's leave that discussion for another day. The Torah immediately pivots into chapter 27, with God telling Moses to instruct the people about a tradition of promising one's value in silver to the sanctuary as a fulfillment of a vow. This is where people would pledge the equivalent of their worth to maintain the public worship of the nation. And in chapter 27, in this chapter, it provides details as to how these voluntary vows would be calculated based on a person's earning power. And so specific values are arrived at through age, gender, etc. And again, with chapter 27, I have a lot of philosophical difficulty with the Torah, placing more value on one human being over another based on their economic power and strength, and because of gender or age. So I really have a hard time wrapping my mind around this entire Torah portion, Behukotai. I mean, the idea that bad things only happen as a result of misdeeds and good things happen to those who obey God, the value of individuals based on gender and ability to work. I mean, I have real theological and moral challenges with both of these chapters, and I bet many of you do as well. Yet, I'm going to leave that for another video or maybe a sermon. I want to look at the Torah portion through the eyes of a Rabbi Yaakov Yitzchak Horowitz. He was a rabbinic scholar of the late 1800s. I love what he did. He creatively took the two chapters together in a broader way to offer what I think is a brilliant thought. We have in chapter 26 the terrible things that will befall us if we are unfaithful to God. And then he notices that immediately after that, chapter 27, it goes into our worth and value when we offer a gift to God and the community. Rabbi Horowitz teaches that after listening to all that would befall them for their unfaithfulness, the Torah was reminding the readers that despite everything, they will remain of precious value in the eyes of God. After showing disobedience and receiving punishment, it could lead them to believe that they're not worthy. So the Torah places the next chapter right next to it, Rabbi Horowitz says, to remind them that even at the nadir of failure, they will always be of worth before God. My friends, I love that interpretation because I think we all experience trials, setbacks, failures, and difficulties that cause us misery, heartache, pain, and cause us to question our worth. I cannot tell you how often I speak to people in this office who, after one broken relationship after another, a loss of a job or several jobs, they come to me with a profound sense of hopelessness, a feeling that they're useless. When life wounds us, we despair. We become unsure of who we are, and we question whether our lives have purpose. When that happens, there's nothing more empowering than being reminded by others and by God that we are of value, that God values us, that God cares for us, that God cherishes our worth. My friends, religion has its many detractors, and sometimes, unfortunately, for very, very good reason. But one of the most important ideas conveyed in every faith tradition, and we see it in how Rabbi Horowitz marvelously connects the two chapters here, is how religion reminds us when we're down that we are always worthy in the eyes of God. I may have a hard time subscribing to a reward and punishment theology in this world. And I also have problems with some having more value than others, as described in this week's Torah. By the way, subjects which have many more opinions that I can offer in a video. But I can definitely appreciate Rabbi Horowitz's approach to this text. No matter what happens in our lives, no matter how down we are, whether caused by our own mistakes or simple misfortune, let us never forget we are of worth. God values, God cherishes each and every one of us. We are all, no matter what happens, unique and precious in the eyes of our Creator, in the eyes of our Divine Parent. Shalom.